Wait. Oh, we are live. Okay, it looks like we are live. Now look, it's been a couple weeks. I acknowledge. Oops, I gotta go more this way. Okay, it's been a couple of weeks. I acknowledge that I may not have done the best job of keeping up with everybody. But let me just make sure that my sound and everything is okay. Hang on a second. Let's go back out here. Let's redo Facebook. And it is saying I'm live. Can you hear me though? No. It's not showing me that anybody's live. Interesting. It says that I'm live, but I don't see me. Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. Yeah, you know what I told so my intern is getting ready to graduate and we were looking okay. Right, yeah. We were looking at possibly having her work for me more hours instead of just one afternoon a week. And I was like, well, I don't know if I've got enough work for you to do full time, but I know what we can start doing. We can start doing our broadcasts during the day and she can help direct all of this stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. Y'all let me know. Let me know in the chat if you would like to see us move to a daytime broadcast instead of the evening. I kind of like the evenings. It keeps us at our roots. It's where I started. But at the same time, I noticed that our nighttime viewership dropped off and more people are choosing to listen to these classes as excerpts for the Ladies of Wealth podcast. So just let me know what you all want and I'll be more than happy to accommodate, okay? So I'm back. I had a lovely trip. You know what? This looks like my shirt is backwards. I hope y'all can read it. This is strange. I had this set up just fine yesterday. Everything is backwards. Hold on. Let's edit this layout. Oops. So, camera. No, I did not pick mirror my camera. Okay, y'all gonna laugh at me. I just spent the last 10 minutes trying to figure out what was wrong with my broadcast, and I couldn't get that everything was mirrored. I couldn't get it. I didn't get that. And I was like, something's not right. This is not looking right. Well, we're late. We need to just get going, okay? So let's back that back and get another running start. I'm back. I had a lovely trip. I did learn some value in appreciating. I learned some value in appreciating my body and my strength. And even though my body's not where I want it to go, I'm thankful that it can carry me upstairs. I'm thankful that I have strength to haul luggage. I'm thankful that I have the presence of mind, despite my injuries and despite the long-term impact of those series of car accidents. I thank the Lord that I have the mind to be able to travel and to be able to come home safely and to help others. So we'll just leave it at that. But it was a lovely trip, and with a fabulous organization, the National Association of Black Military Women. And I'll tell you all about that later, but I am so overdue on lessons and information because, like, in my mind, I had it all set up, y'all. I had everything for the last couple of weeks to be auto and replay, and it was going to be all right. But then I get back and log into my system, and it says, you have not emailed people in over a month. And I'm like, no. Because, if you don't email people enough, it dings your scam ratings, okay? And so it messes up your scam. So anyway, we're gonna get into today's topic. But before I get into today's topic, I want to tell you about a new scam that's going around. And I also want to answer some Q&A because we didn't do that last week. And, well, it's only going to be one Q&A, but I'm pretty sure my answer is going to be fairly long. Like, that's probably going to be a whole Ladies of Wealth episode. And if you are listening to this on the Ladies of Wealth podcast, I would encourage you to come join us live on Thursdays. Now, we may be moving that to the daytime. I've been considering that for a couple months. We're going to test the waters and see what happens. But if you're listening to the podcast, I encourage you to join us live because then you can ask your questions live and you can get your questions answered and you can participate and help shape the direction of the show. And sometimes I even allow people to come on live on camera or audio so that they themselves can ask their question live. And if you have a business or anything like that, we can talk about your business, get you a little plug, right? And wait, that did not come out right. Plug your business. It's interesting how I learned some new words this week, and that wasn't one of them. But I learned some new words, that some new meanings to existing words. It's like, wow, every year they find a new way to tell people who's old and who isn't. Okay, but first, I want to talk to you about a new scam. That's right. There is a new scam you need to be aware of. And let me pull this scam up for you. There is a scam. Extra camera. Oh, that's a cool feature. When did that come in? Sorry, y'all. There's a new scam that share screen. That's what I wanted. There is a new scam that's going around with these rings. And I want to give a shout out to this TikTok user, Nina Rome 777. I had downloaded or screen captured or something her video, but then I couldn't find it. So I pulled this screenshot from an NBC article that actually used her video. But what's basically happening out there, y'all, what's basically happening, you receive a cheap but pretty adjustable ring in the mail, along with some business cards and a QR code to scan to learn more about who sent it and why. Now, if I was to receive something like this, I am a little wary of scams, so I might type the information into my Google rather than scan the QR code. But still, I would want to know who sent me this ring, right? Unfortunately, many who have scanned the QR code discovered that it took them to a link that then installed malware on their computer. And others have reported that it gave scammers automatic access to their bank information. Although that's probably not what happened, we do want to be aware, because unless they actually put their bank information into a web form on that page, what's more likely and what you want to be aware of is that the sites probably installed monitoring software on their phone or computer, and then it monitored so that the next time you use your bank app, it scrapes the information from your login and then sends that to the scammers. Now, my bank says whenever I try to screenshot it, we don't allow screenshots. But you know what? When I was on the Zelle screen the other day, and y'all know I have a love-hate relationship with Zelle. Everybody loves Zelle because the money goes right to their account. But this gal does not like Zelle because Zelle has been implicated in so many scams. And they even tell you, you send this money, you can't get it back. Make sure you're sending it to the right person, right? I have seen when I've gone to conferences, there are people who make their names on Zelle and Cash App and all this stuff so close to what the big name person has. And you can find, I don't know if y'all knew this. I wasn't going to talk about this, but I'm going to talk about it real quick. You can, me and the AT&T dude, who was a wonderful salesperson, we sat down for about 20 minutes and went through number after number after number after number to find a number, and I would put each one into the Ninja dialer and see what it spelled. Right? And so I do that, and I recommend that you do that when it comes to your number for your business. So because mine is 254-454 HOPE for my business line, right? And so I love that number. Isn't that a great number? 454 HOPE. For hope. Yeah, I love it, right? But you can do the same with other numbers. And so what these people are counting on is that you fat finger in something wrong and they get your money and they don't have to give it back. All right. So, but what's happening with this ring scam? Let me pull a picture up for those of you just joining us. What's happening with this ring scam is that malware or spyware, depending on the version of the ring scam that you get, is being installed on your computer when you scan that QR code and you go to their website. Okay. So a couple things I want to cover on this. I know it's going to be a lot, but you need to be aware. I need you to be aware because scams, especially in these economic times, are becoming worse and worse. You go on websites like Reddit and half the posts are actually bot posts. that they post things automatically and using bot software. And then when they get enough followership, then they start doing nefarious things, the P word, other things that I think my son's listening to there, so I'm not gonna, say some of these things out loud, but they start funneling you into this other stuff. And because so many of us are stressed out, so many people are in anxiety mode, so many people are in fear mode right now, it's a very quick switch to boop over to something you shouldn't be doing. So when it comes to the mail, receiving things in the physical mail, there's three things that I want to cover real quick, okay? First of all, we're going to talk about your obligation to respond to the mail that you received but you didn't order, okay? Then we're going to talk about 7 ways that malicious links install software, sometimes without you even knowing it. Ooh, it operates in the background. The best ones operate in the background and you don't even know it, so you don't do anything about it. We're going to talk about 5 ways to protect your computer from malware and zombification. Okay, that's a new thing that's come out. And we're going to talk about those things, and then we're going to talk about what to do if you get one of these packages. Actually, let me go ahead and mention that now, but we're going to cover it in more depth later. All right, if you get a package mailed to you that you did not order, are you required to pay for it? Now, y'all, this is so interesting to me because back in the day, I used to see this with books or CDs. Someone would send me a book and then they'd say, thank you for your order. Please pay blah, blah, blah. Because, back in the day, you used to be able to order stuff and not pay for it till it came. I don't know who else is on there today is my age or older. This definitely does not apply to my son's age group, but in my age group, you could order something, you would get it, and then you'd have 30 days to send them their money, right? Like, like we would never do that today. You'd never get your money, right? But back in the day, they would send books, they would send CDs, they would send all kinds of things. They mail you a thing, a mug, a t-shirt, whatever. They bill you, and then some even say, you haven't paid us, we gonna sue you. But actually, you don't have to pay for it if you didn't order it. Okay. Some people today are receiving random Amazon packages this day. No, you are not required to pay for it. By law, if somebody sends you something like it's addressed to you and you didn't request or pay for it, you didn't say you were going to pay for it, you didn't sign up to pay for it, you didn't attempt to pay for it, you didn't buy now, pay later for it, you have no obligation to pay for it. Now, if you get somebody else's mail, you get somebody else's Amazon package, I'm so sorry, but you cannot keep it. You're not even supposed to open it. And technically, y'all, it is a federal crime to open up somebody else's mail. Opening or destroying mail that's addressed to somebody else, it's actually a crime called obstruction of correspondence. And it can be a serious felony that could lead to 5 years in jail. So if you get mail addressed to somebody else, don't throw it away or shred it, okay? Not only is it illegal, and let's face it, we are at a critical time in our nation's history where the last thing we want to do is give anyone an excuse to send us to jail. Okay? The last thing you want to do is trip some arcane law that nobody ever pays attention to anymore. And you open up or shred somebody else's junk mail because you know what? It's junk mail and you don't want your information out there. And so you're going to scam that millionth credit card offer. You're going to shred that. Oh, you don't want to give anyone an excuse to send you to jail. Okay? So that's concern number 1, all right? But also, by ignoring mail sent to your address for somebody else, it could result in squatting scams, identity theft, or at worst, deed theft. Y'all, I'm not going to go deep into it here because I really want to stay on topic with this ring in the mail scam. Okay, that's what we're talking about. For those of you just joining us, we're talking about the ring in the mail scam. And if you are listening to this as part of the Ladies of Wealth podcast, I encourage you to go out to YouTube and you can actually see a graphic of a TikTok user, Nina Rome 777, who did a really good video on the ring scam. Okay, so if somebody, well, just real quick, If people are sending their insurance, their bills, or other correspondence to your address, they could now. They may not be. It could be that they moved. It could be that they're older. I've got one older gentleman, and it's funny because now I'm in my 50th year, right? So I'm going to be 50 next month, and old is not so old anymore. But there's one older gentleman who somehow he writes everybody's box number, and he just, I don't know if he just forgets or if it's just entertaining to him or what, but we're all getting his mail, okay? That's not what I'm talking about here. But when somebody's got their credit card offers, their employment information, their insurance information, anything legit like that to your address, they could possibly use that postmarked mail as proof of residency, and that can wreak havoc on your life, including saying your home is actually their home and identity theft. Okay. So what should you do if you receive mail for someone else? The U.S. Postal Service website, it asks that you write "not at this address" on the envelope. And I meant to bring one in here to show you, but I don't have one, so I'll just draw it out for you. Okay. I'll just draw it out for you. So if you've got the envelope and it's got their information on it, okay? What I do, they ask you to write "not at this address" and either put it back in your mailbox, which I personally would not do, because if somebody's sending mail to my house on purpose, I need to make sure they don't go through my mail and pull it out when I say "not at this address." You see, you feel me? All right. But they want you to write "not at this address." And I like to actually put a physical line through that, so it's very clear what we're talking about here. Nobody can finagle that. Okay. But you don't want to obstruct the address. Like you don't want to scribble through it. You don't want to scribble through it or anything. Okay. You just want to put a line, but you don't have to put a line, but put "not at this address." Okay. And so you don't want to cover up the address, because otherwise they can't do anything about it. Okay. But if you do that, when it gets back to them, they do some machinations to like scan it in and keep it on record. And if the business that sent it has a forwarding service requested, they'll ping back to them and say this address is bad. I mean, that company's still going to send it to you anyway, but legally it helps you recover if somebody does try to steal your information. Okay. So now let's talk about the ring. Okay. If you get one of these rings and it is addressed to you, all right, please, sir, please, ma'am, don't scan, don't scan the QR code or access any of the links it sends you to. It's most likely a brushing scam. Now, brushing scam is a relatively new term. It comes in two flavors, okay? The first flavor we kind of already talked about. It links you to a website that installs malware or trackers or some such onto your computer, okay? That's one type of brushing scam. Another type of brushing scam, if done through Amazon, could be someone's attempt to send you poor product and then use your info to write a review as if they were you. So if you receive this kind of brushing scam item, then the Federal Trade Commission recommends you change your passwords on all your online shopping, because somehow somebody got into your account. You want to check your credit weekly if you use credit cards to look for identity theft, and you don't want to contact the sender. Okay. This is kind of like with all those spam phone calls and spam texts. The minute you reach out to them directly, guess what you've just done? You've let them know that you are a real live person. And guess what they want to do? They want to hit you with more, hoping you'll fall prey to it and give them the money the access they need to clean you out. We don't want that. All right. So don't contact the sender. All right. My recommendation with the ring or other items you didn't order from Amazon, throw it away. Okay. Now, there is a scam on Amazon that is using your account to send you luxury items. Now, that's a whole different thing. You got to lock your account down quick and make sure you pay attention to your charges so you can file your affidavit that you didn't really spend that. Okay. But if it's something where somebody else sent it to you and they're just wanting you to review it, or they're trying to scam you to pay it, just throw that stuff out. Okay. The only exception to that rule of the unexpected gifts is the mystery seeds from China. Y'all, the mystery seeds from China are back. If you get some mystery seeds from China or anywhere else, do not open them. Do not plant them. And if you already planted them, please, by all means, do not eat anything that grew from them. Hopefully you'd already heard of that, so you didn't. But save the mailing envelope and the seeds and give them to your nearest USDA, county extension program, parish, agricultural resource, whatever your local jurisdiction calls the people that deal with nuts, seeds, trees, plants, and all those things, okay? The people that deal with kudzu and other invasive species, you want to give that stuff to them. They're going to inspect it, and then they'll destroy it, okay? All right, but if it's a ring, a toy, some kind of tchotchke, just throw it out, okay? There's some people that are concerned there could be tiny cameras hidden in those things. And me, I'd be concerned about what is in the alloy of that ring. Like, is it, I already have expensive skin. Y'all, I just found out, I had a doctor appointment yesterday. Good numbers, we'll talk about that on my next walk. Good numbers, making progress. But I just found out that what I thought was acne was actually a fungal infection. And I know I came back from the desert with a fungal. A lot of military people do. They come back from the desert with a fungal infection, and then you're fighting it the rest of your life, But what I thought was acne was actually fungal, okay? And so, I wouldn't wear even if my husband bought it for me, I wouldn't wear one of them rings anyway, because if it's adjustable like that, it probably has something in it that's going to break me out, right? But there are people that's concerned that there's monitoring devices in those things. And regardless, I'm just because no one's verified that doesn't mean it's not true, okay? So throw that stuff out. Don't follow the links, all right? Since we're talking about the links, next, I want to talk to you about 7 ways that malicious links install malware, sometimes without you even knowing it, okay? So the number one way, no. These are actually not in any order. And I had some of these already, and then I did some research and found some more, and I realized I forgot to put on my list. I forgot to put on my list for tonight where the source was of the extra 2, but that's okay, because I had 5, and then I found 2 more, and I said, these are new. I didn't know about them. So that's why it's good to always be learning, right? But these are in no particular orders. But one way is drive-by downloads. Okay, so some links, especially those found in phishing emails or on compromised website, they will trigger an automatic download and installation of malware without your explicit consent. So the minute you go on their website, they have a script activated, and if you don't have a antivirus or a script blocker or something like that, it just gets boom right onto your device, especially if your device is one of those operating systems that's very prone to being infected with malware. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2 is phishing websites. Okay, so this is where you have a link and it directs you to a fake website designed to look legit, but it can actually contain malware that's downloaded. So some of these phishing software take you to look like your bank or other account. So you put your account information in, trying to check what this charge was they told you about, and now these criminals have your account information, right? But others of these sites have malware that gets downloaded when you click the link or open the attachment or otherwise interact with it, okay? Another one is malware disguised as legitimate downloads. And this is one that actually frustrates and scares me a little bit, because I used to have a web host company, and there are websites out there that I used to use to get my download scripts and the different, back when everybody was sharing all their code and we were all building on each other's stuff. These websites were legit sites to pull download software and other people's creations. And you know what? Today, some of those sites are full of malware. You click a link, you think you're getting a legitimate download, but it's actually a malicious executable file that can infect your computer. And sometimes you can catch it, but you want to not have to, okay? All right. So let's see. How would you know if you had clicked something or installed something? Well, one is going to be unusual website redirections. Okay. So if you click a link and it takes you somewhere you didn't mean to go, it could be a sign of a malicious link. You could be on one of them news websites that has like 1,000,001 pop-ups, or the mom blog websites. They are so frustrating to me. Like, you can't even see the recipe because of all the pop-ups. And then they're like, do you want to subscribe to our site? No, I don't want to subscribe to your site. I can't even see it for all the crazy ads. What they're banking on is you going to accidentally click something because it's so many of them, and they're going to make money every time you click. That's not malicious, not smart in my opinion, but you know what? They make money. So as long as people click that stuff and they make money, they're going to keep doing it. All right. But you wanna be aware of that. Okay. The other thing you want to be aware of is unexpected software installations. Okay. So you install a software, and it usually has a pop-up box that says, hey, do you want a custom installation, or do you want us to just download what we recommend? Generally speaking, even if you just download what they recommend, generally speaking, most of the time, maybe 75% of the time, it's going to be stuff that's going to help you with that software. It's going to help you. It's going to introduce you to new stuff. But the other part of the time, it could be things that masquerade as helpful, and that developer puts it in, and then just like the websites I told you about that back in the day were super helpful but now are filled with malware, well, they could change. And now when you upload the valid software, that add-on piece from a third-party vendor could now be installing new software. So you want to be aware for new buttons or software that you didn't download or install. It could be malware that was installed through a malicious link, like we already talked about, or a valid link. Like, I don't want to name a good one. But let me do a pretend one. Like let's say I download a software for making crossword puzzles. I used to love making crossword puzzles. We have a new youth lesson out. I'm going to make a new youth lesson. I mean, we have a new adult lesson out for our Christian education. I normally make youth lessons from that for my son. And I like, because he doesn't pay good attention in Bible study. But when I make him a little thing with, word searches and fill in the blanks, he loves that, right? And so I'll make those little things. Well, let's say I download a new software to make the crossword puzzles. Sounds really valid, right? And all the moms are raving about it. And Norton says, this is safe, or McAfee, if that's what you use, or WebRoot, I think is another antivirus software that's out there. Whatever you use says, yep, this is good. So you're downloading it, and then that pop-up comes. Do you want the custom installation, or do you want us to install the recommended configuration? And I always click custom because I don't know what you recommended. I don't know what third-party installation is going to happen with my crossword. You could have, a new picture editing software that last year was a good picture editing software, but this year it's become malware. The people who created it and gave it to the crossword puzzle maker, they created it under bad faith that, hey, this is going to make great word pictures. So now you can put text and pictures on top of your crossword. Doesn't it sound good? I'm making this up on the fly, but doesn't it sound good, y'all? So you put the text and and all that stuff over your crossword. But then once they got people hooked, the next group of people that install it, now it's malware under the guise of this thing. And the poor software people who created the crossword puzzle software probably don't even know about it. I hope I made that make sense. If I fumbled that one really bad, put it in the chat and I'll try to explain it again later, all right? Another thing that we have to watch out for is pop-up ads or suspicious messages, okay? So a lot of these websites that we go to today, they make their money through pop-up ads. They make their money through affiliate links. And I make money through affiliate links. Like I was on the cruise. I got two payments. I got two payments, one from YouTube and one from Amazon. I was like, oh, I'm happy about this. I like extra money to spend, right? Actually, I got it right before we got on the boat. I didn't get anything on the boat. I got it right before I got on the boat. I was so happy, y'all. I was like, oh, extra shopping, right? But that's through affiliates. I get affiliate fees. I get affiliate fees from Amazon when you click on my links. I get affiliate fees from Amazon whenever you click on my links. And then with YouTube, sometimes I put affiliate links in my YouTube videos, and sometimes YouTube sends me ad revenue, right? So all of that is a cost share kind of thing. And that's great. But some of these pop-ups can be malicious. And if you aren't paying attention, you might just be trying to hurry up and close them all out. Like you went to this news website and you're clicking them all out. And then the next thing you know, you clicked the wrong one. And now your whole screen is flooded. When you see something like that happen, try to get out of that window as quick as you possibly can. All right. See if you can go down to take your mouse and go down to the bottom and do a right click on that browser and click out of it and see if you can keep it from doing anything else or reset it or something. All right. That didn't even sound right. That's probably sounded confusing. Okay, the last one, and this is something I knew about, but we never used to call it this, okay? And it's the zombification of your computer, which can cause slow performance, okay? If your computer starts running slower than usual or starts crashing frequently, it could be a sign of malware that's affecting your system. So sometimes bots steal your computer's computing power and they use it for their own computations, Bitcoin mining, for sending out spam emails and things like that. Now, some of us have heard about this in the past because in the past, it wasn't just y'all in the past when the internet was first a thing, it wasn't just scamsters who were doing this. It was some governments who were doing it because they take the computing power of your computer and the computing power of your neighbor's computer and they put all that together and they make their own like connected supercomputer kind of thing. And so your computer's running and you're like, why is my computer making so much noise and I'm not even using it? Because somebody else is using it. And nowadays, and back then it was scientific stuff. See, the kind of scientific stuff that we were doing in our lab required really big computers, and the same in other countries that didn't always have access to a whole lot of computing power. So, that's not as big of a threat now as it used to be. But what the threat is now is people using it to mine Bitcoin, people using it to run their own compilations and computations on different things. And then also, people using your computer, they slip in and access your computer and use the computing power of your computer to do things like send spam emails out, create bots, run bot systems, and you don't even know it's there. All you know is your computer is running very slow. The criminals gather as many computers as they can and they put them into groups called botnets. And your computer now has effectively become a zombie. Whenever they want to activate their botnet, your computer is almost impossible for you to use. Okay, so you want to be aware of these things and you want to make sure that you are monitoring your computer and paying attention. That's the big thing. A lot of this stuff requires paying attention. And I don't know if it's a getting older thing. I don't know if it's a tired at the end of the day thing. I don't know if it's the computers have been getting more complicated. I know that's why I originally sold my website business, is because the security needed to maintain people's sites was just getting to be more than I felt was worth my time, And then I ended up buying it back because the person I sold it to wasn't doing a very good job. I don't know what it is, but it just seems like it's so much harder to pay attention to all these things. It could be that I'm scrolling too much on Reddit or playing too much of my little township game that I enjoy, right? It could be that my attention is dwindling. But I've found in myself, and you might find in yourself, that I have to actively focus. I have to actively pay attention and challenge myself. What is going on in my room? What are the sounds that my house normally makes? Y'all, my house makes the scariest sounds. Like if I just lived alone, the house is still noisy. If I was alone, the house is still noisy. And so what is a normal sound? What is a normal crunch? Like that fridge, like if I didn't know it was the fridge, you would think somebody had broken into your house. That's how loud it is. And it makes all these crazy sounds, right? Your computer makes sounds. Your phone can make sounds if you're using it a certain way, right? Like your computer has a normal performance. Your phone has a normal performance. And when we pay attention to these things, not to say we're going to get overly anxious about it, but just noticing, hey, my computer is clicking a lot more than it normally does. It's making a little sound, and I'm not doing anything with it. I wonder why it's doing that. And we want to be curious, okay? We want to be curious about what's going on so that we can protect ourselves. All right? So now that leads me to the next thing. Hang on a second. What can we do to protect ourselves? Now, I'm just going to do a quick summary on this, okay? Because there is a whole interview. There's a whole interview I did with a let me see. Well, no, I'm not going to find it out. I did a whole interview with a world-renowned security person about a year or two ago. Okay. And I would name his business, but I'm not sure it's the same name. So just search my archives. Go to ladiesofwealth.com and search my archives for protecting yourself online. I should have figured that. I should have reached out to him and made sure before I did this. Okay. What are 5 ways? What are 5 ways to protect your computer from malware and zombification? All right. 1, be cautious before clicking. That's right. That's right. We said it a bunch of times. And honestly, depending on where you work, you've been trained in this so much, sometimes you forget to apply this at home. I know, like in the military, we've heard this over and over and over. But you know who's getting scammed? People who are clicking the links. And then they wonder why I don't click the links. Like you said, listen, Linda. If you send me links on text, and if you send me links in my Facebook messages, and you send me all these links, I just want you to know I am not clicking them. I'm just not. Unless the preview shows me it's a valid site and I can read the URL for myself, I'm not clicking it. I'm sorry. I'm just not. Because I don't have time. I've already gone through recapturing my computer once. I don't have time for that. I'm too busy, you know. So before clicking any link, especially those in unsolicited emails or from unknown sources, make sure it's a legitimate link and website by verifying the URL and the sender's identity. They are very good at making it seem like it's what it should be. If you have to, screenshot that thing and blow it up so you can look at it, because it'll look like it says google.com, and what it'll say is goo with an extra o, goal.com or something like that. Okay. I think Google's got most of those fake ones knocked down, but there are some very valid ones. MyPay, for you military retirees, MyPay has one out there that's very similar to MyPay. I forget what their actual name is, but it takes you to one of those landing pages that is not MyPay. There's what's another one? They're not coming to my mind now, but make sure you verify the URL and the sender's identity before you click on anything, and especially before you put any information in. All right. Number 2 is use a strong antivirus software. And having a reliable antivirus software can help you detect and remove any malware that might be installed. Now, I've got Norton on this. I used to have the one that Geek Squad puts on. I think it's called WebRoot. And then before that, I had McAfee. But me and McAfee have never gotten along in like the whole 20 years or 30 years now, almost 27 years of internet existing. Wow. The internet really has not been around that long, because it came out while I was in college. And yeah, it came out my freshman year in college, and it was called Usenet. It was just words on a screen. I'm sure the military had it before I went to the academy, but for the rest of the world. But yeah, me and McAfee have not gotten along, but some people swear by it. Norton is very annoying because they have a lot of pop-ups and a lot of, hey, get this product, and hey, get that product. And they like to infuse themselves into your browser, and then it slows your browser down, and then you can't go to all the things you want to go to. Like, it's not even protecting you. It's just trying to funnel you into their ecosystem. And so I hate that part of it, but it's always worked for me. And your one thing gets you 5, and they're not paying me to tell you do it or don't. There are times when I'm happy to try something else. Let's just say it that way. But another thing that's really important to do is to actually back up your stuff, so that if something happens and you have to restore your computer, then you're able to pull back your memories and your research and all the different things that are important to you that would just devastate you if you lost what was on your computer, or more importantly, your phone. Now I have a review coming out. I made a video. I have to edit them. I made some videos on different uh, tools to get your stuff off the iPhone. The Android is very easy. The Android, you plug it into your computer, you hit boom, and it shows up like any other drive on your computer. But the iPhone's a little more difficult. It's harder to get your stuff off the iPhone, okay? So I played around with some different softwares that can help you do that, and it's hard to go back and forth, and to go back and forth between the iPhone and Android, and to go forth between the iPhone and your computer. Like, all of that is just not easy. Like iPhone does not make that easy, but that's part of their security protocol. So it's not as easy to do the things you want to do, because everything in the iPhone is compartmented off so that if one gets compromised, it doesn't compromise the whole phone. Okay. So as much as I'm mad about that, I'm actually kind of like that. Okay. So what do we stop at? Antivirus, back your stuff up. Okay. Update your browser and operating system. I know those updates are so annoying, and they always come at the wrong time. Okay. But don't let it go too long. And if you're like me and you understand that you like old operating systems, yes, says the gal who still has a Windows. I think I still have a Windows 6 computer, a Windows 7 computer, a Windows 10 computer, and now they're going to sunset Windows 10, and I also have a Windows 11 computer. I understand that we don't like to lose our operating system, but for the work you're going to be doing online, you want to make sure you have a computer with the most up-to-date operating system, because that is going to help you protect yourself. All right. You keep your browser and your operating system up to date. That'll give you the most latest security patches and updates. Now, if you're like me and you get tired of all these updates that cause more problems, well, just wait a little bit. Like on the browser, I wait until Google says it's red. Google Chrome. I don't remember how Facebook Firefox does. I think Firefox just like one day you go in and it's updated, but Google's like, you need to close this and reopen it so we can update. Like they do just update. I think, I don't know that you can turn that off. Again, another thing I should have researched before we started tonight. But on mine, when I see it, it'll be green. Hey, you need to update, and then it'll be yellow. We need you to update, and it'll be red. You better update. Don't you fool around, or we will update for you. So you want to do that, okay? The number 4 on that, on ways to protect yourself. Be aware. Be aware of phishing attempts, okay? Fake emails, websites that are requesting personal information. I keep getting these texts about you owe us for your tolls. And I'm like, okay, first of all, I got that on auto, because I live in rural Texas and I'm driving all over the state, and I'm just going to use the tolls. And I know they're expensive, but it's like when I was in Virginia. My boss in Virginia used to laugh at me because I would literally take the toll road and it'd be like 25 cents. And everybody, the traffic is clear and there's no reason to go on the toll road. But the one time that highway has an accident and I'm late for that daycare and I have to pay a $75 fee, it's worth a whole 6 months of those tolls to make sure I'm to that daycare on time. And that's kind of how I am with the Texas roads. If I can take a toll and get there faster, I will take a toll and get there faster. If I can take a toll and not have 6 lanes of traffic around me, I will take the toll and not have 6 rounds of traffic around me. So I look, I'm not a big fan of auto pay on anything, but you best believe I got my toll money on auto pay. So they send you these things and they stress you out. Look, I had somebody, if you're watching this, and I don't think you do, please know that I love you. I love you so much. I had somebody ask me the other day, hey, do I have a credit card? And this is why young people are the fastest growing group of people who are getting scammed online. It's not my age group and older. It's actually young people. And I'm like, no, you don't have a credit card. That's spam. It's trying to get you to freak out about these charges and go log into their website and give them your personal information. It's not, you have to apply for a credit card. One doesn't just automatically appear out of thin air anymore. Now they used to. Do y'all remember that back in the day? That they got in trouble for doing that, especially the college kids. And so as we look at trying to help our my son's Aggie classmates, and other college students that we care about, this is something that's becoming a big deal. And so they're going to request these things, and they're basically, it's called phishing. They're just out there throwing out that hook and seeing who they can catch. Okay. All right. So be aware. Be aware, first of all. Another thing that you can do is to hover over links before clicking. So remember when I mentioned before about how you need to check that the link is good before you click on it? Like, I don't even click on links. If it's like, let's say somebody sends me a YouTube video on Facebook, I will hover over it, and then I will go into YouTube and I will search it. And so you'll think, oh, she doesn't like my stuff. No, it's not that. I'm just protecting myself, because I get a couple thousand emails a day, and I get maybe about, I don't know, maybe about 20 messages a day in the different platforms. And I just don't have, I'm not taking the risk. Okay. I can't have my Facebook locked down for no reason. Right. But if you hover your mouse, hold on. You put your mouse over the thing and you don't click it. You just put the mouse over it. Okay. And at the bottom of your screen or the top of your screen in some browsers, it'll show you what the URL is. And then usually it will. And that way you can see what the real URL is, because it might say USAA Bank, but when you hover over it, it might say xyz.russia.ru. Right? So you want to make sure you know where that link is actually going. And you also want to make sure it's a legit link. So for example, it says USAA Bank, and you hover over it and you see USAABank.xyz.ru. No. That's not USAA.com. That's USAA Bank subdivision. I forget the actual name for it. It's a sub URL to xyz.com, xyz.ru. It's not USAA Bank. They put that in the front, just like where the www goes, to make you think when you hover over it, oh, it's USAA. It's not. You got to look at the whole thing, y'all. And some of these links, they are gobbledygook. They are gobbledygook. And so play it safe. If you get something from your bank that says, hey, we had these charges, and you get a fraud department phone number, and call the phone number, and then you call them, and they want to confirm your account, right? Don't call the phone number in that text or email. Don't click the link in that text or email. You call them with the number on your bank statement, on your credit card statement, on your, I was about to say debit card statement, but that's actually your bank statement. Call that number and ask to speak to the fraud department, because you will find out really quick that a lot of these things are spam. All right. So watch out for these scams and protect yourself by staying informed and by subscribing to my Ladies of Wealth podcast. We turn these Thursday night lessons into podcasts that are heard all around the world, y'all. And so I want you to be aware of those scams. I'm going to probably try to break those up. It was supposed to be one lesson, but we're like at 48 minutes. So I'll try to break those up into like different Juice with JJs. And we're probably not going to keep calling them Juice with JJs, because that was our Saturday morning thing. I think we're just going to call them what they are, just, hey, the ring scam. Okay. We'll see. We're testing some new things out. If y'all haven't seen the new Ladies of Wealth page, please go out there and see the new Ladies of Wealth page. And you can leave me, you can apply to speak. You can leave me a voicemail. Like, you can just click a button. You don't even have to use a phone. You don't have to give me your number. You just leave it, click, and say your thing and click. You don't even have to give me your name or your email or none of that. You can just boop, do it. Okay. And you can ask your question the traditional way with a form, and you can give a review. I think I took the reviews down because I had too many things. You can do your ask question. You can take a class. You can do all kinds of things, y'all, on the ladiesofwealth.com. Okay. Okay. So before I move to our lead at home lesson, I have a question of the day, and I do want to remind everybody about our group coaching. So, if you're listening to us on the Ladies of Wealth podcast, I encourage you to join us Thursday nights again. Get your questions answered at no cost with each class. If you want to get your questions answered in a more private environment, you can join our group coaching program for $49 a month. I am currently not taking any more one-on-one clients because I'm already full of one-on-one clients, and you know, I had one slip in on me last year when I wasn't taking anybody, and then I opened it up and got some new ones, and then I closed it back. I think we've locked that down because when people slip in like that, I don't necessarily have the capacity to serve them with the excellence that I want. So we try not to open it up unless I know I can serve you, and give you what you paid for. And I do my best with everything that I do, but like I don't want that extra stress. My family wants their mom. So we really put a limit on it. But anybody can come to group coaching. And usually, to be honest with you, usually we've only got about 4 or 5 people in there, maybe one or two. Some days we got one or two. Like there's been days where it's one or two people, and each one of those ladies gets like half an hour of personalized coaching because that they would have paid $500 for, but they're the ones who chose to show up. They invested their time into themselves and they got the blessing. So you can get the blessing too. You can go to jjclink.com/group. jjclink.com/group. Okay. So there's a couple other things that I want to talk to you about. I do want to talk to you about the Juneteenth conference. And then I have a question of the day. And I just realized how late it's getting. So I'm going to talk about Juneteenth. I'm going to talk about Juneteenth real quick. And I probably don't need to be talking about Juneteenth wearing a Belize shirt, but you know what? I keep meaning to do it, and then I keep forgetting to contact the people who are speaking or writing in the anthology. So we're just going to do it right now. Okay. Is that okay with everybody? Listen, if you don't want to hear about Juneteenth, I ain't mad at you, but Juneteenth is very precious to me. And we've been doing the Juneteenth conferences before it was a holiday. So if you do not want to hear about Juneteenth, go to the bathroom for about 5 minutes, go get you a drink and come back. And we're going to have our question of the day about moving your business from one town or one state to another state. Okay. But for right now, let's talk about Juneteenth. So, hi, everybody. This is JJ Conway, the founder of the Juneteenth Legacy Economic Summit. This is our 7th year, and I was so excited for the 7th year because in the Bible, the 7th year is the year of Jubilee. And, you know, the year of Jubilee, the year of freedom, the year people are like free. Like I had this whole vision for Juneteenth. For those of us, who honor the history of Juneteenth and understand what it means to us today, to me, the idea of Jubilee really dovetailed nicely. But instead of being a year of Jubilee, this year's kind of become a nightmare for many, many people. All right, so real quick, for those of you who don't know the biblical concept of Jubilee, it's a construct for ensuring civility in dealing with indentured servants and slaves and ensuring that they had a pathway to freedom. Now, the Bible does not applaud slavery. We want to make that really clear because I've been in churches where they're like, yeah, the Bible teaches about slavery, so all y'all black people need to stop complaining. That is not what the Bible says or does, okay? But the Bible does offer guidelines for Israelites who held slaves, how to treat them with respect, educate them, and then after 6 years, release them with enough funds to start a new life. Like that is so not the slavery of the South, right? Like if that was the slavery of the South, I don't think people would be crying out for reparations. We're not getting started on that. Okay, but every 6 years, after 6 years, so that 7th year was a year of Jubilee. And then every 50th year was a huge nationwide Jubilee where everybody was released and the land was not farmed so it could rest. So the concept of rest is very biblical. We'll talk about that another time. But when it comes to Jubilee, for me, the bottom line is it was our 7th year. We were a conference before Juneteenth was a holiday. And I was really looking forward to incorporating that into our celebration. But so many of us are in fear right now. We've seen people who lost their jobs through no fault of their own, people whose benefits, their hard-earned veterans and other benefits just taken away, just poof into dead air. We've watched helplessly as social programs that once helped us escape poverty have been defunded all across America. And And I know that many of us live in areas that don't understand how important those things are for us. Now more than ever, we need to talk about the disparities of wealth by race in America. We need to talk about how to create multiple streams of income that will carry us through such storms. And we need to talk about how to get off, as Dr. Boyce Watkins calls it, the corporate plantation, and provide methods of livelihood for our families that no man can take away. Dr. George C. Fraser, our opening keynote speaker, said that African American consumers spend $1.1 trillion a year. We have to unlock the economic and entrepreneurial power of Black America. And when I read a stat like that, I think of just how much good we could do for our next generation if we harnessed even 1% of that spending power and put it towards empowering our youth to create their own businesses, invest in real estate, and build a network of economic support. I mean, even 0.01% of that is $110 million. Now, I want y'all to stop and think about this, okay? With 40 million Black people in the United States, that's 14.4% of the population. That's like $2 to $3 per person. For $2 to $3 per person, we could educate every single one of our high schoolers on wealth and entrepreneurship principles. But no, that's not the kind of articles I see about us. I see about us the Black consumer of 300 billion opportunity, McKinsey and Company. And y'all, they have profiled us to a T. If I'll put the link in the show notes for this when I make this into the podcast, or if I remember to do it in these Thursday night videos, they have profiled us to a T. They understand that we like entertainment, and they look at our neighborhoods to figure out where the best places that companies can move in to extract our funds. Now more than ever, we need to talk about this racial bias that was always there under the surface, but now is being flaunted in our faces, just like it was when I was told at the Air Force Academy that I couldn't declare physics because I was Black. I did it anyway, and we need to make things work anyway. We need to prosper anyway, and not just talk, okay? This isn't just a talk and vent session. Yes, we need safe places to vent. And when we're done venting, we need to craft a plan and a strategy to do something about it. What action are we going to take today so that tomorrow people who look like this are going to be less fearful, more confident, and better financially prepared for whatever is coming down? The bottom line is no one will care more about us than we care about us. It's time to take action. It's time to get educated, equipped, and connected. It's the only way we're going to successfully build wealth and create the life of power and freedom that you deserve. Nobody else is going to pull us out of the bondage that we're in but ourselves. I'm JJ Conway. I'm inviting you to America's #1 Black Wealth Strategy Conference, and you can learn more about that at JuneteenthLegacy.com. Now that sounds good, right? Doesn't that sound good? That's a nice little commercial for Juneteenth Legacy, right? But here's where I need your help. Minority empowerment conferences all over the United States are losing funding from sponsors who no longer want to be perceived as supporting diversity efforts, DE&I efforts. This has impacted all levels of our conference, from our funding to our original venue that was sponsored by the state, to the Black-owned businesses, vendors who we were going to lean on, who lost their main job, and now they're working 2 or 3 menial jobs just to get by. So they put their side businesses on the back burner because it just wasn't making enough to feed their family yet. Like, their American dream is fading from before their eyes. And you and I have an opportunity to do something about it. They lost their government job through no fault of their own. This government resource shut down through no fault of their own. And sometimes life happens to us. It is not our fault, some of the things that happen to us. But guess what? It is our responsibility. It may not be our fault today, but it's our responsibility to build our dream and to fight for our dream and to build our families and to fight for our families, and to build our businesses and to fight for our businesses. But sometimes we can't do it without a little help from our friends. And so, this was supposed to be the year of Jubilee. We had finally, I was so excited. We finally got to the point in this conference where I wasn't going to have to charge speakers a cost share. And I made that commitment last year. I said, hey, you're already part of the family. You're going to do your 10-minute. We're not going to make you pay to be a part of this conference because we're finally getting the movement we need to be a self-sustaining event, right? And I'm a person of my word, so I'm not going to change that. It's still free to speak as long as you're not selling. And then it's like there's a fee to participate if you want a table to sell. And it's only, listen, other anthologies are charging thousands of dollars, and we are just made it $99 to be a co-author in our Juneteenth Legacy anthology. We just want to cover our costs, right? So I'm not going to go away from that commitment, but that commitment puts me at a crossroads. Because we'll be in Fort Worth this year. We'll be walking with Opal Lee, the mother of Juneteenth. Isn't that fantastic? We found a delightful Black-owned venue in Fort Worth with a Black-owned hotel 10 minutes away. And there's a cattle drive happening right after our Black Veterans Brunch. And we're hopeful that the new Juneteenth Museum will be having its grand opening that week. I mean, like, how amazing an experience will this be? Y'all know we plan these a couple years out. Next year we'll be in Tulsa. The year after that we'll be in Kansas City. We didn't know that the Juneteenth Museum was going to be opening up this year when we planned to have it in the DFW area. We didn't know that by time we came here, Miss Opal Lee will have been successful in getting Juneteenth to be a holiday. Now, look, it may go away soon. We don't know about that, but we certainly want to march with her. She's 90 years old. Let's get out there and march with her. And I was really afraid, y'all, when this government agency said, nope, we're not doing that stuff anymore. And this government agency, nope, you can't have the room anymore. And all these different things started coming apart. I really thought we were going to have to cancel the in-person event and just go online. But the Spirit stopped me. And all these other options started to bubble up to the surface, all these other activities and things about Fort Worth. And then I could see why. I mean, like, this is going to be a powerful event like none other that I've ever put together. Our opening keynote will be Dr. George Fraser streaming in, and there's plenty of room for you on the in-person or virtual stage. We're going to have a Q&A with Brother Bedford about, from the Masters of Business. We're going to be talking about how you can make your business relevant with what's going on. Basically, we're going to be, I hope I don't get canceled for this, but we're going to be talking about how to build yourself a Trump-proof business. All right? And so we want you to be there. We want you to be there. I want you to be there. Whether you're in the room or on the Zoom, I want you to be there. Whether you're Black or not, I want you to be there. Because if you're an ally today, I want you to understand what people are going through. Trust me when I say Fox News ain't it. All right. But I can't do it without money. I need sponsors. The Microsofts and the Walmarts, they're not supporting conferences like this anymore. And I need you to partner with me. Or else we're going to have to convert to online and lose access to all this amazing in-person history. And last year, I was okay with going online because, I mean, come on, it's not our fault that the venue in Atlanta went into foreclosure right before the conference. I mean, but this time, y'all, it hits different. This time, it isn't just a bad business owner. I can't even say bad business owner. I'm sure they tried their best. But this time, it's the policies of the very nation that I spent 23 years defending and protecting that put us in this bind. And if we study history, we see the same pattern over and over again. So I am asking you to sponsor the conference. You can email me or comment deck if you would like the sponsor deck, but real quick, let me tell you what you get at our current levels, okay? So at the $1,000 sponsorship, you get both a virtual and physical vendor booth. You get 4 tickets for you and your team. You get your logo on our virtual background that all the speakers will use and on our ticketing website. And you can put marketing materials in both the physical and virtual swag bags, okay? You or a rep for your business may provide up to a 10-minute talk to the audience. Isn't that great, huh? All right, at the $2,500 sponsorship level, you get all that plus 4 more tickets, total of 8. You get your representative's headshot on those event graphics that feature more than one speaker, and you will also provide a 2-minute commercial to be played during breaks and online. You can also host a pre or post conference virtual VIP session with our event attendees. So we have the main conference on Juneteenth, Thursday, June 19th. Then we also have leading up to the conference and a few weeks after the conference virtual VIP sessions, and you can host one of those. And in those sessions, you can entertain and educate the audience as well as sell your services. At the $5,000 sponsorship level, you get all of those things plus a very, very special business Q&A. I want to give you his name, but I'm waiting for the actual 100% yes. I've got the soft virtual. I'm waiting for the written confirmation, but this is a Q&A with the president and CEO of one of the largest private African-American, I can't even tell you what the company is because you'll know who I'm talking about right away, in the United States, and host of, I can't tell you that either yet. Oh, I hope he gets back to me soon. But this will be a private session. It's going to be held 2 weeks before the conference, and you're going to get access to that very special Q&A with this world leader, this CEO of an international company that provides services specifically geared to people of color. Ooh, okay. All right. So if you're interested in sponsoring the event, reach out to me soon. Our deadline for making some decisions is rapidly approaching. And if you can't do those levels, let me know what you can do and how I can help your business. And we'll customize a sponsor package for you. Maybe you can only do $100. Well, let's talk about what you need. What's going to be the most benefit to your business? And we'll customize a little $100 package for you. Maybe we'll give you a 2-minute commercial, or maybe we'll let you put things in the swag bags, or maybe we'll do something for you. But we want everybody to participate. Okay, we want everybody to be a part, because I think this conference is going to be its most special yet. And y'all know I hate asking for money. I really do, because I'm just one of those people. I just want to do it all myself. I just want to do it all myself and get it done. But at some point, we have to say, I need help. And I need 2 kinds of help. I need money, and I also need people to help in the running of the conference. So if that's you, reach out to me as well. I probably should have said that first, because I think I lost everybody when I started talking about money. But I'm looking for someone to be a virtual host. I'm looking for ambassadors to help talk up I'm looking for ambassadors to help talk it up. And we also have affiliate links. So if you're an ambassador, or if you're any kind of host, or if you're any kind of advertising, you might actually make money on your affiliate links of any tickets that are sold through your special link, because we believe in cost sharing. This isn't just to line my pockets. Okay. All I need is to make sure I pay for the event. If I can help create pathways for somebody else, then I'm going to do that. And I remember when I couldn't afford, I remember when I was $800,000 in debt. It didn't matter how good your product was. I couldn't afford it. It didn't matter how good your service was. I couldn't afford it. You could be the most amazing coach on the planet, and I couldn't afford it. But there was a lady out there, and I'll name her name. She's not a woman of color, but she is a woman of success. Her name is Lisa Sasevich, and she had an affiliate program. And you could participate in her affiliate program even if you had never come to one of her classes. And I was using her affiliate program to save up for one of her classes. And, it's where I got the concept for. And that's why I always create pathways in my conferences for somebody else to do the same. So maybe you're not sure you can sponsor, but maybe you can be an ambassador and you can help spread the word. Maybe you're somebody who can come help volunteer in person to help run the registration table. Somebody, if you're detail oriented today, maybe you want to come in and volunteer your services as an event planner. There's all kinds of ways. Maybe you're really great behind the mic and you want to volunteer your services as an MC. I'm okay to let you be the MC, especially if you're going to do a better job than me. Now, I don't do a bad job. I don't do a bad job on that, let me tell you. But if you can do a good job, let's highlight you. Let's build your business. All right. Okay. All right. So, one thing I need you to know about Juneteenth, there's actually a couple things. So if you're just coming back to me, I'm going to need about 3 or 4 more minutes on Juneteenth. Okay. Couple more things you need to know. There is not going to be a public broadcast this year. So for the last 4 or 5 years, all of my conferences have had a public broadcast, and we've had 10,000, 15,000 views on these conferences. And we've had lots of comments, and people have reached out to our speakers, and they've sent our speakers money. They enjoyed what they're saying. And so that's been very, very profitable model. But this year, the topics are so important, and people are so afraid to talk about them that we decided to make it private. Now, look, you and I both know anything that's online is not 100% private, but these topics are so touchy. And with all the uncertainty out there, even though we can't guarantee privacy online, we do feel that extra level of privacy will help foster the conversation we want to have. So there's not going to be a public broadcast, and there are not going to be any free tickets. If you want to participate in this event, you're going to have to prove that you're with us by paying for a ticket. Okay. Now, some speakers who want to invite their audience that they've already vetted may bring they're going to be given tickets that they can comp their friends and family and their mailing lists. Some speakers will be able to comp tickets to their audiences, but people off the street, you're not going to come in here and wreak havoc on our people. You're not going to do that not on my watch. Okay. So there's an entry gate to help ensure our safety. All right. All right. Two more things. Okay. Speakers and authors. All right. Speakers, leaders, community activists. If you want to be a speaker at the event, whether you want to speak live, virtually, or in person, or whether you want to pre-record a virtual talk, whether you're going to be able to join us in Fort Worth, any way that you want to be able to join us and speak, go to juneteenthlegacy.com and you will be able to click the button that says apply to speak and fill out the application. There's no charge to speak as long as you're not selling from the stage. And if you want to sell, on the link, scroll down, the tickets have a Black Wall Street booth kind of thing, either at the virtual or in person. There's an advertise your business thing, that you can use to sell stuff with. Okay. But also this year we are doing the Juneteenth Voices of Legacy anthology, and we still have some slots left. I want you to tell your story. Hang on, my voice is going. Oh my goodness. Let me start that over. Okay. All right. Authors, we have some slots available for the Juneteenth Legacy anthology. I want you to tell your story. Whether it's a short paragraph or a whole chapter, we want you to tell your story. And if you're interested in contributing, let me know. You have a story. You just need a stage. You just need a platform. You just need a medium. You need a way to get your words in front of other people's eyeballs. People can learn from what you've been through. That your pain isn't supposed to be in vain, hiding in the silence. So tell your story. Let someone learn from you. You can help others get back up when life knocks them down. So many people right now are living in fear, and they've been knocked down by these sweeping policies that cost people their jobs and their health care and all kinds of things. And I know some of you are really excited about all the great things that you think are going to happen. And I hope that great things do happen, but I'm looking at the here and now. And the here and now, people are stressed. People are fearful. People are anxious. People are losing their opportunities. And it would be different if it was their fault, but it's not. And some of you, you've bounced back from adversity and you've figured out how to succeed in these trying times. Tell your story. Tell your story. Help somebody else. Help pave the way. Help lift somebody else up. I've got 3 impactful ways for you to tell your story. And all of these ways allow you to send something written as short as you want it, all the way up to 2,000 words, okay? You can put your bio and some media links in there, all that kind of stuff, okay? All of this includes basic editing, social media graphics for your advertising. You're going to also be invited to participate in the showcase, virtual event, you know. So these 3 levels will help you tell your story in the written word. The star level is our most affordable package. It's only $99. Your photo and name will be listed on the back of the book, and you will be able to tell your story and get in the book. Now, we have 2 other options for those of you who are a little bit more established, okay? Our contributing author package is only $4.99, and if you select this package, you'll receive everything at the star level, plus, this is big, y'all, you will be given author credit on Amazon as a contributing author. So that means, and we can only take, Amazon only allows up to 10 contributing authors, okay? And I'm one of them, so that's really 9, all right? So only 9 slots available. This means that people can click your name on Amazon and go to an author page that Amazon creates for you. If you already have an author page, the Juneteenth Voices of Legacy anthology will be added to your author page. Okay, so this gives you some author street cred. All right, now our highest level package is absolutely my favorite, and I got this idea from our Women Speakers Network. It was actually the very first anthology that I ever participated in, and it set the bar high, y'all. Of course, to set the price high too. It's the co-author package, which includes everything else that you get with the other 2 packages. However, you will receive a special edition of the book featuring your name and photo on the front cover. So it's going to have JJ Conway, and on the other side of that cover, it's going to have your name. So it's going to have us together as the co-author of the book. And what this means is it takes you up a level from marketing anthologies, because when you can go to an event and you can sell a book with your name on the front, it up levels your experience and your prowess as an author. It gives you more credibility. Okay. Now, because this includes a whole separate print run, the cost for the co-author package is $19.97. You can see how excited I am about this anthology. Okay. So whatever package you choose, it's going to be a way for you to tell your story and to support and lift up others. Okay. All the written submissions need to be received by 1 May. So if you book it by 28 April, don't do that unless you already got it written, all right? Because we got things we got to do. We got editing, we've got to make it seamless. And so we're not going to change everybody's voice or anything, but we want to make sure that however it's presented in the book, like the editor has to make sure everything flows in a nice way for the reader, okay? And so we're going to do all that stuff. We need it by 1 May. All right. Woo, that's the end of my Juneteenth update, y'all. Let me know how you best feel you can be a part of this movement, y'all. I hope you'll join me in person walking with Opal Lee Juneteenth morning and then rolling right into our conference. We'll be at Wed Spaces in Fort Worth. And in the comments of this video, I will post the link where you can apply to be the speaker or author. And if you're already a speaker or author, be on the lookout soon for an email requesting your headshot and other details, okay? So I'm JJ Conway. Thank you so much for listening to this update on our Juneteenth Legacy Conference. Take care. Be blessed. And I kind of want to end the video here because everybody done dropped off now that I'm talking about Juneteenth. It kind of makes me sad. That makes me sad. I understand that I live in a very rural part of Texas and that there's a lot of people around here who think that Juneteenth shouldn't be a holiday. But if you have any respect for me at all, I kind of think that you would care enough to listen about the reasonings behind why we'd even have a conference, okay? Maybe I'm just venting, I don't know. Now that Facebook takes down your videos after a month, maybe that's when I want mine gets taken down. All right. Okay, time for the question of the day. Time for the question of the day. Time for the question of the day. Let me get something to drink. And again, if you are listening to this as part of the Ladies of Wealth podcast, I encourage you to come live Thursday nights so that you can ask your questions live. We are looking at moving this to the day because I have a really hard time putting my son to sleep on time so I can actually start these broadcasts on time. And B, we don't seem to get as much participation as we used to. I guess it's really hard for me to compete with primetime TV anymore. But we've been doing Thursday nights since 2014. So this wasn't a pandemic business. So I don't know what's changed, but it's okay. Well, we're going to change with it. So let me know what you would like better. It's time for the question of the day. This question actually came from someone I met at TMEA, the Texas Music Educators Association. They have an annual conference every year in San Antonio. And I love going to that conference. And my booth is called Ask the Money Maestro. Okay. My husband is a band director. Most of our colleagues out here are band directors. And so my booth is Ask the Money Maestro. And I had such a great time answering questions. This one, I felt like it applies to more than just musicians, so I want to share it with you today. Okay, these folks have asked, they moved to Katy, Texas, and opened up a music lesson studio. Okay, other places I've lived, I have easily filled classes, but it's been 2 years and I'm having trouble getting students. So that was the question that this person came to me with. And what I'm going to share with you today will work not just for Texas, but many southern, rural, or sparsely populated areas. Now, Katy isn't exactly sparsely populated, right? Because Houston's grown so much that Katy is basically a suburb on the west side of town. Like if you look at the map, it's like Houston, and then this little blip of Katy, right? And there's other towns that are like that too, right? There's other towns that are like that too. They're pocketed around in there. But like, you look on the map and it's like top, bottom, and east side, it's all Houston. But Houston is not incorporated, Katy. It's its own town with its own government and its own independent school district. And it still has those small town rice farming roots, okay? So here's the thing I've learned about small towns in Texas, Louisiana, especially communities that are deep in agriculture and or were originally based in agriculture, okay? If they don't know you, your mama, your grandma, and your great grandma, it's going to take a lot of work for them to buy from you. If you look different than the main populace of town, it's going to take a lot of work for them to buy from you. If you look like the main populace of the town, but don't speak their primary language, it's going to take a lot of work for them to buy from you. If you have a strong accent or anything else about you that signifies different and outsider, it's going to take a lot of work for them to buy from you. Not fair, but it is what it is. And rather than complain about what is, I prefer to actually do something about it. So I asked what this person was doing because they present majority, but you can tell from their accent that they are not from this country and that that their roots are not from this country. They may well be American, but their roots are not from this country. And here's what they said. They've done some advertising. Good. They've gone to networking events. Good. Now, if they were in a different part of the Houston metropolitan area, that might be enough. But they're not. I mean, think about it. This town is so protective of its people that they fought hard to remain their own independent city as Houston grew up all around them, okay? So they like the way things are. And while they say they are open, I mean, their websites say we're open to growth and success. They are going to vet that growth and success first to make sure it's consistent with what they want for their town. Which means you can't just open up a shop hang up a shingle, do some mailers, and expect the floodgates to open like they might elsewhere. And I don't say that with any disrespect, all right? Because I've been there. I was a free community financial planner from 1998 to 2013. That's 15 years. I helped people get out of debt for no cost. Taught workshops, spoke at events, a lot of one-on-ones, all free. But y'all, when the government sequestration happened in 2013 and the civilian federal workers in my agency lost 20% of their pay, they didn't get that money back. Ooh, I realized I could not depend on Uncle Sam for my livelihood. And so I transitioned to fee for service financial planning and education. And if you haven't lived in the DC area, they call it the DMV, DC, Maryland, and Virginia, right? That part of the world, let me tell you something about people in that part of the world. Almost everybody had a federal job, one or two businesses they were working on the side, and then a nonprofit. They worked hard. And they didn't need to know if your grandma made the best strawberry rhubarb pie to know if they wanted to do business with you. All they needed to know is, do you have what I need to take my life to the next level? And do you have what I need to make the next profit? Do you have what I need to push my nonprofit where it needs to go? That's all they cared about. Now, the longer I stay in the South, the more I understand vetting people through knowledge of their kin and whether they make a good strawberry rhubarb pie, okay? But that's not what I was used to. So in the DC area, the DMV, I put a $200 class out there on Meetup and Eventbrite, and it would fill up with a bunch of people I didn't know quickly. Rinse and repeat. Man, y'all, I thought I was in business. But you're actually not in business when everything's going well like that. It's not really business until you've learned how to weather some storms. I became a realtor in 2007. Guess what happened right after I got my real estate license? Who remember what happened after I got my real estate license? Oh, y'all, I got my little salesperson license and I joined the board of realtors so I could call myself a realtor. And guess what happened? The real estate market crashed. Ooh, and that was a tough time to learn how to sell houses. But let me tell you two things that market crash did. First of all, it weeded out all the people who weren't any good because they just got their little certificate. They put a house on the listing and it would just sell tomorrow, and they didn't have to do anything. It weeded all those people out. And number two, it taught me how to be very, very good. So good that our team routinely signed 7% commissions, which was higher than anybody else. And we were worth it. Now, if you got a good realtor, let me give a plug for all my fellow realtors out there. I don't have a license anymore, but for those of you who think a realtor doesn't do anything, let me tell you something. A good realtor behind the scenes is working hard to get your deal to the closing table. And they make the negotiations that you don't know about. They make the phone calls you don't know about. They are working with the bankers and with this person and that person and the trades. And they're doing a whole lot of behind the scenes thing. They are worth every penny. All right. So what I'm saying all that to say is I understand that starting your business with some adversity is actually a good thing for the longevity and sustainment of your dream. Because if you can make it work during the tough times, it will thrive abundantly during the good times. So I really identify with this music school director. I went from somewhere that was real profitable to rural area that wasn't very profitable. And B, I have built successful businesses in times of economic struggle, which is what he's going through right now. What do people give up in time of economic struggle? They give up all the extras. So if I have to choose between eggs and music lessons, okay. My husband's a band director and both of my boys are very talented musicians. We're probably going to eat grass. No, that didn't come out right. We're gonna probably eat homemade bread and pasta and put the boys in music class. But for the average American family, if I gotta choose between artsy fartsy and food on the table, I'm choosing food on the table. Okay, so I really identify with this music school director, and here is what I recommended. First of all, I recommended shifting energy from marketing, which is enticing people to come to you, and into prospecting, which is going out and finding the clients. Okay. So they didn't say whether their school was for children or adults or both. And as we talked, they seemed really receptive. So I didn't need to ask that. But for anybody listening tonight live or today on the podcast, I'm just going to explain a little bit about both for completeness sake, if that's okay. Let's start with kids, okay? So again, marketing is you know, Google ads, signs, mailers. You're trying to entice people to come to you, but what we want to start, what we want to do is go out and find the people that need us, okay? So to entice parents to try a new vendor for their kiddos, you kind of first got to figure out where they are, what they need, and what their pain points are. So in this situation, what I recommended was that they do a search on homeschool groups like parent forums. I'm sure there's a Moms of Katie kind of Facebook group. I mean, we at Stephenville have like 5 or 6 different mom groups. I got kicked out of half of them when I posted about the loan repayments, but you know, we have them. I'm in the Weatherford Mafia Moms group, so you know that was very entertaining and very active. You want to talk about mama bears who love their kids? You find you a group like that, right? And I'm actually, I don't know how it happened, but Facebook somehow made me the admin of a homeschool group. And I see homeschool parents and co-ops where I live who welcome providers of extracurriculars such as music, especially if they want to homeschool, but they don't have that talent. So then everybody gets together in a little co-op, and you got this talent, and they've got this talent, and they got that talent, and together everybody's educating the children, right? So you look for those groups. And then you give first. You build relationships with the people in those forums before you start asking for their business. You answer their questions, you get to know them, you get to learn how you can help them before you advertise. And then when you do advertise, you make sure that you do it in the right place and at the right times. You'll also start to find out about venues and events that cater to children, and then you can set up booths and offer coupons for a free lesson. Or you could set up a free lunch and learn at your music school and advertise it to the moms in those groups. Now, that might feel like a lot of time, money, and expense, but I'm going to tell you right now, you can get a lot further spending $100 catering lunch for local moms than $100 of Google or Facebook ads on a population that doesn't know, like, or trust you yet. And again, I'm talking about somebody who moved their business from a very, very high density area to a very low, not very, because Katie's not low density, but much lower density and strong southern rural roots. Okay, even though the city is not rural anymore, strong roots. Excuse me, I'm gonna sit here. Now, attracting adult students, that's kind of, you know, you can find the same tactics if you find Facebook groups for people who want to learn this or want to learn different things. But one of the biggest things you'll want to do is get involved in the community. And they had joined the chamber, and I think they had joined the Rotary or something like that. But you don't want to just join. You don't want to just get on the roster and then send out, you know, if your chamber lets you do a spam all once a year, you know, you want to get involved. You want to get involved with the chamber, involved with the Rotary, or any other causes that speak to your heart. And you know, you want to go to the meetings, you want to go to the dinners, you want to volunteer, you want to introduce yourself, you want to get to know people and find out who misses music in their lives. You know, some people used to, you know, music was an outlet for them. And since the pandemic, you know, they haven't picked back up music, or they haven't realized how it's missing. Figure out their pain points and then tease that out. You know, maybe you could offer, maybe you could get to know people and find out that there's a lot of adults that would like music lessons, but they feel like they don't have time. And so you could offer music lessons for busy professionals. You know, there's somebody else I met at TMEA, and I need to get their information because I don't want to misspeak, but they have certain style of lessons and things. And I was like, well, what do you do about everybody else that calls themselves teaching something on YouTube? And she said, they're our feeders. People get frustrated with them and they come to us. And I was like, oh, I was so impressed. I was so impressed. I can't wait to interview them, y'all. But maybe, maybe you could come up with something like, well, you've tried YouTube University. Now try something that really works. Okay. I'm not a copywriter, so I know that was rough, but you can put that into chat GPT and play with it, right? Another way to prospect, if you're okay with being a little sneaky, is to visit a big box music store in the Metroplex and learn about their lesson program. And then craft your value proposition to show why you are better. Now, I went to Katie a week ago, but I didn't look for music stores. I went to my friend's daughter's house, and then we went to our cruise. So I don't know how many music stores they have out there, how many places are doing lessons. If it's a small sample set, you may not want to try that in Katy, right? But Houston is huge, right? Go on the other side of town, and you can find somebody to observe. You want to go in and see how they run their lessons, and who provides their lessons. And you're like, but I have my own music school. I know, but you're not doing this to help benefit your music school. You're doing this so you can go back to Katy. And if there's any music stores in Katy, now if there aren't, then this may not work. But if there's music stores in Katy, you see what the big box stores in Houston are doing, and you come back to the stores in Katy and say, hey, if you offer lessons, here's what I can do for you. Or if they don't offer lessons, now you can partner with them to be their lesson provider. See how this works. And I know none of these things are ideal at first, right? But they start the process. You got to remember, nobody knows you. When you move your business to a new town, if you're moving to a tight-knit community like that, they don't know you. It's going to take a while for them to trust you. And depending on who you are, I mean, I'm not even going to lie to you. There are some people who will move their businesses into certain communities, and that community will never, ever buy anything from you. But you'll never know if you don't try. And you may have to serve other communities. You may have to make heavier use of online. You may have to go an hour away. I was talking with a lady the other day who has a business down here in Stephenville. And I asked her, where do you live? And she says, well, I live in Weatherford. And I was like, oh, really? That's a bit of a drive for this business. She's like, well, this is just one of my 5 businesses. And the other ones won't make any money down here because no one will buy from a woman. Which, as a woman business owner, that is not what I wanted to hear. But her words carried weight with me. And so you want to put yourself in a position where people can get to know, like, and trust you, and eventually refer business to you. Maybe there's a music store or a music school program that wants to offer what you teach, but they haven't found someone who can be consistent. Build a relationship with them and then offer to come alongside them and help them meet this need. By shifting our energy away from marketing, again, enticing them to come to us, and prospecting, going out and finding them, it doesn't mean you don't market, okay? You still market, but now you can market more effectively. So if you serve primarily children, you don't want to send postcards to retirement communities unless you're thinking you're gonna send postcards that are tailored to grandparents, right? You might send them first to bread and butter family neighborhoods, but you don't want to just send a postcard to bread and butter family neighborhoods unless you've had an opportunity to get to know some of these families and see what their pain points are. Again, if people are choosing between food on the table and, let's make it even more real. People are choosing between food on the table, sports lessons, artsy lessons. Unless that child's got a huge artistic potential, chances are they're choosing the sports lessons. How do you get in there? What do you say? What do those families need to hear? You're only going to learn that by getting out and getting to know them, okay? And one cool thing about communities with strong values, guess what? The old school tactics still work, such as door knocking, door hangers, lumpy mail, businesses post like business postcards, businesses that let you post your postcard, right? I'm going to recommend, and I need to do a better job of this myself, right? So I'm doing a better job. I need to do an even better job, but always have some business cards, rack cards, or things like that, or even pens. I've started leaving pens, y'all. So we have these ladies of wealth pins. There's these ladies of wealth pens. If you want one, give me your address and I'll send you one. All right. We've got these ladies of wealth pens, and in places that have pens, like the post office and other places like that, I've just started leaving some because people always need pens and they're always stealing the pens that are there. So, hey, here you go. Now, I haven't left them at the mail place because she's got her own pens and I like her. So I don't want to disrupt the business. But there are a lot of places that use pens and it's just a bunch of random pens from different places. And so why not be from your business, right? But when you come across a business that will let you leave a business card, or the cork boards in the gas station. I've been driving cross country, put my business card on a cork board, and actually got business from it. Even the old fashioned drop box, y'all. Now, for those of you who are younger, you may not have noticed this, but now that I'm telling you, you're going to see it everywhere, okay? Those drop boxes or fish bowls for business cards, win lunch for 10 people, or win this trip, or free lesson. You see those in local businesses. People fill out forms or they drop their business card in and they enter to win something. It could be lunch at the restaurant that lets you set up the box or the bowl. And it can be very effective. I've done this. And the person who wins, they bring their friends and they eat their free meal while I give them a sales presentation. The last one I did was when Big O's was still here, and I did a presentation in their little side room. It's kind of like a little alcove that they had for like 8 people. It honestly works better than anything else when you're in that kind of a community. They bring their friends, they eat their free meal, I give them a sales presentation. And I'll admit it probably works better for financial planning than for a music school, but you get the idea. I've actually never had a business tell me, no, I can't set up a bowl to buy people their food. I've never had that. Now, I have had people say, no, you can't set up a bowl to win an Amazon gift card or something like that. I've had a lot of success with Amazon gift cards, but sometimes businesses don't want that. But a restaurant, I've never had them say, no, you can't buy my food. It brings them more business. Okay. So you could do something like that. Maybe a free month of lessons. I don't know. But be very judicious and targeted with your marketing dollars. And if you run Facebook ads, make sure you're using targeted audiences to only show your ads to people who have expressed interest in the music lessons. Okay. I know social media can be daunting, but you can have those inspirational videos branded with your logo and post one a day. You don't even have to do the speaking. You could do the speaking. You could make your own videos, but you don't even really have to anymore. A lot of channels are built, and I just ordered some. A lot of channels are built using these little snippets that are not even theirs. Okay. I hope this helps you establish your business, and that the next TMEA, they'll come by my booth and tell me how amazing they'll do. And if you put these comments into use for you, if you put these strategies into use for you, I hope you'll let me know how it's going, and I hope it will be going well. All right. I was going to do a time tested success strategy, but we are already an hour and 40 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off for the night. We'll try and do this again in the morning. And I know I always say that and I never do, but this time I really need to, because I'm backed up on the lessons, because none of them ran while I was gone for a couple of weeks, cruise and other things that we were doing. All right. But with that, I'm going to sign off for today. I'm JJ Conway. Thank y'all for being on. Next time, we're going to talk about leading at home. It's a time-tested success strategy that is part of your overall strategies for success, doing what the best do and having the same success that they have. Y'all take care and be blessed.